the Canada-U.S. trade war continues, food prices are increasingly being impacted. And for more on this, we're joined by the food professor, Sylvain Charlebois from Dalhousie University, the heavily mic'd Sylvain Charlebois, by the way. If we have audio problems, Sylvain, it's not on your end. It's
That's
us.
right. I'm covered. I'm covered.
It's good to see you this morning. Let's start with just food prices.
Good to see you.
How much have they jumped, and just what foods are being impacted the most?
Well, it's the uncertainty, because we're still not talking about tariffs. The uncertainty is just making things a little bit more complicated and interesting for grocers and consumers. If you've been to a grocery store recently, you've seen a complete de-Americanization of the grocery store. It's getting harder and harder to find American products. And so we're seeing products from Peru, Turkey, Mexico, of course, South Africa. So you're seeing grocers really procuring food from all over the place, but it is pushing prices higher in the produce section, center of the store as well. But this morning, I think that Ottawa will be announcing some counter tariffs of up to $30 billion, and that's going to impact food prices also.
Okay. And obviously, speaking of that, this move to buy Canadian, are there savings to be had there or not? Because people are concerned, the price often rules people's spending and where they're putting their money. And buying Canadian doesn't always mean saving money.
Exactly. Sometimes the local option is cheaper, but not always, of course. What's interesting, for the month of February, sales for Canadian food products have actually gone up 3.5%, which is actually huge in food retail, by the way. But here's the most interesting part. Sales for American food products are down minus 7%. And so right now, what we're seeing, of course, is a lot of Canadians are actually walking into the grocery store just buying anything but American. So the Buy Canadian movement is strong, but the anti-American sentiment is even stronger.
All right. And to that point, Sylvain, Loblaw has just announced that they're going to roll out a new program. They're going to have symbols on products that are seeing higher prices due to this trade war, all of these tariffs. Can you explain this a little further for us, how it will work, and will it actually help Canadian shoppers, do you think?
You know what? I don't know. So they're going to be putting a T right next to the price of certain products if the product's price was impacted by counter tariffs. Now, first of all, you need to know what T stands for, and of course it stands for tariffs, but maybe people will think it stands for Trump or Trudeau, who knows. So you need to know what it means, really. One. Two, you got to understand what counter tariffs actually are, and counter tariffs are making food prices more expensive. But the thing about tariffs or counter tariffs, it doesn't only impact prices or products that are basically affected by tariffs, but it impacts a category. For example, if you import a tomato from California and that tomato is tariff, it's not just that tomato that's impacted by tariffs, it's the entire category, because grocers will set prices based on gaps, differences between all of the tomatoes in that section. So all prices are likely to go up. My question to Loblaw is that, will they put a T on all of those tomatoes or just the one? So I don't know if the campaign is going to work. I think Loblaw is trying to basically educate the public in terms of what impacts food prices overall, and it's pretty complicated.
Yeah, and as we're discussing this, it kind of sounds preventative by Loblaw, because obviously they've taken heat, like a lot of grocers, for inflation and food prices going up. So is this kind of their way of saying when prices go up once again, they can just point to the T on the label that it's not us, it's the tariffs?
Well, that's. I think you bring up a good point, Jeff. I mean, will people believe it? I mean, if prices are going up, you're blaming tariffs, but is it really because of tariffs, or is there something else going on? So I think, yes, Loblaw is trying to be ahead of this and fine, but will people believe it? That's really the big question.
Okay. Quickly, can we just discuss maple washing for a second and what people should watch out for?
It's confusing out there. I know the CFIA has received a lot of complaints about this. People looking for products of Canada, made in Canada, prepared in Canada, created in Canada. There's lots of maple leaves all over the place. But there's a lot of movement going on right now at the grocery store with categories because grocers are importing new products from abroad. And sometimes they may not align certain signs with certain products, and people are complaining about that and claiming it's false advertising. So I would just urge people to be a little bit patient right now because it's pretty rocky out there given what's going on in Washington and how Ottawa is trying to deal with all this.
Yeah, it's changing not by the day, but it seemingly is changing by the hour.
By the hour.
Last couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Sylvain, appreciate the conversation
Exactly.
as always. Thanks so much for joining us.
Take care.